Attacks, and welcome to Discover Digital. NAU ITS is continuing our Cybersecurity Awareness Month. We know hackers can be spooky, so in today's episode, we take another look at our ITS security team and how they help our students. I am joined today with Information Security Analyst, Erin Plese. Hi Erin, how are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It was a nice weekend.
Oh, good. That's always nice to have. And now it's now fall. Are you enjoying the fall weather at least?
I am. I love looking at the aspens changing colors. They're so pretty.
Oh, for sure. Conveniently, I have one right outside my door, so I get to stare at it every single day, basically.
Oh, that's so
I
nice.
love it.
That is so
I love it.
nice. I'm planning on going to Snowball for the third time just to look at them again.
Oh, for sure. I keep saying I'm going to do that this year, and I've been so busy.
No,
So.
yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Get it. Okay. Do you want to explain your role at ITS?
Sure. So I serve as the Information Security Analyst. I focus primarily on the cybersecurity compliance aspect. So I typically help analyze and evaluate current security practices and also help establish baselines for complying with state and federal regulations for several projects and other implementations of new software or current software, any of that type of stuff that we have all across campus. So some people say it's too policy heavy, that it's the boring side of security, which whatever, I enjoy it. So that's all that really matters, but it's still important. So yeah,
Yeah. So
what I do.
I'm glad. That's awesome. What does that mean for our students and the lumberjack community?
So my role here on campus, my team, so I'm one of 3 departments in the larger security team, which we don't really have a large security team to begin with, but that's okay. So we have 3 different teams or 3 different departments on our team, each focusing on their different niche of security. So we have the identity and access management team, which is responsible for managing the storage, security, and integration of identity data. Excuse me. And which also includes integrating authentication systems like the CAS system that you use to log into Louis, or our 2-step verification and managing digital identities on campus. Then we have our Security Operations Center side of the house, where they address more of the day-to-day security for university technology systems in order to combat threats and resolve system vulnerabilities. So they're the hacker side of the house, which people always think, oh my gosh, how fun, which I totally agree. So, I'm not cool enough to do that job, but our guys who do it are just fabulous.
Yeah.
They typically oversee the monitoring of the university's networks and system breaches and investigate vulnerabilities and all those types of things.
Right.
And then lastly, it's again my team, which is I pretty much try and do the representation, the consulting, the advising, and providing hands-on assistance whenever necessary to ensure the security and compliance of our information systems. So what does that mean? Well, if you think about FERPA and HIPAA and NIST and PCI, those are all federal and legal or state regulations that we need to abide by to make sure that we aren't releasing data inappropriately. So for me, the most fun part of my job are doing things kind of like this, where I'm still really nervous and it's totally fine, but also just getting the word out of better ways to help yourself or help protect your information. So it's not necessarily just a one and done type of a thing. It's a team effort that really we all work together to have the better security in the long run, for sure.
That makes sense. And that being said, since you said that you're trying to get the word out there, I know that you've been very hands-on with Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So would you like to tell everyone what that is? What is it this month entail? And what can students do during this month?
For sure. So Cybersecurity Awareness Month, it was originally created in 2004, and it's more of a collaborative effort between the government and industry to help ensure that Americans all across the country can have the resources that they need to stay safe and keep their information secure online. So now it's actually, so even when it first started, it was more just like a push to remind users, hey, don't forget to use your antivirus at least twice a year.
Mhm.
Try to get on that same type of pattern of you protect your house with your fire alarms and stuff. So you want to make sure that you're protecting your internet as well, or your computer, all of those types of things. So now cybersecurity awareness is a national effort that is actually starting to become a global effort, which is really cool. Because if you think about it, the line between our online and offline lives are pretty indistinguishable. So nowadays, our homes, the societal well-being, economic prosperity, everything, our nation's security are impacted by the internet. So we want to make sure that we are giving users tools to help make sure that they're protecting their information. So this year's theme of the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which I didn't state earlier, it's offered every October. So no matter, we don't have to remember a certain date because it's not just one day, it's an entire month. So this year's theme is do your part and be cyber smart. So the best way to represent this is, if you think about it, if you connect it, you protect it. So most tools and systems, and you have your phone, your earbuds, your headphones, all sorts of things now that are connecting to the internet. So you want to make sure that you are doing the best that you can to make sure that you're protecting it. So what does that mean? Well, you change default passwords. You definitely want to do that, especially for something like your Wi-Fi router or your Alexa home system, your anything to that extent. If that would allow someone, if you don't change your password or the initial default passcode, you're allowing other users to just simply Google the device that you have and get into your system. So you don't necessarily want to do that for sure. So the best part about National Cybersecurity Awareness Month is that it breaks it down into week-long themes. So that can help you. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I can get really overwhelmed with all the information that I have. So the best part about NACASM is it breaks it down into weekly chunks. So you don't have to do everything right now. It's let's do your home devices now, and let's do your making sure that you're protecting your healthcare information. So those are some of the themes from this month. So the first week it was, if you connect it, you protect it. So just again, emphasizing what it is this year and trying to bring users into, hey, what do I need to be doing? Then it goes into securing your devices at home and at work. So that's your laptops. If you're working with sensitive data, or especially if you're keeping sensitive data on your laptops, maybe the best thing to do is to encrypt that hard drive. It's super easy. A lot of times you can do it when you first get your device and you don't have to worry about it ever again. Other times you can just turn it on, turn it off, and make it work for you. It's one of the best ways to secure your information.
Yeah, even like using a VPN if you're working remotely is something that I learned from
Absolutely.
this month, and I feel like your team has taught me a lot just as a student employee,
Absolutely.
because my Instagram account was actually hacked. I don't know what happened. Nothing, like, yeah, I just got locked out of it. Nothing was ever posted or anything too
Mhm.
drastic, but sure enough, I was able to recover my account because I was enrolled in two-step. And I remember I used to complain to you and to Wince all the time, like, oh, it's two-step this and two-step that. It's so inconvenient. But then it was not inconvenient at all because it saved me so much grief.
Exactly. And think about that if it were to be your school account.
Mhm.
I
Or
had
like a bank account.
exactly.
Mhm.
You could be having to file for like identity theft if they were to steal all your money or any of that type of thing. Like there's so many benefits to having two-step verification on,
Mhm.
and it's a 5-second inconvenience, but in the long run, those 5 seconds can save you thousands.
Yes.
So it's very important. So I suggest having it on absolutely everything that you possibly can.
Yeah, even during this month, I know that you sent me a lot of information about like even password protection, which I thought was super
Mhm.
cool about making
Yep.
them really long. And I just feel like I've learned so much throughout this whole month. I definitely think that all students should look at it and pay attention during this because I know that as IT, like people think like, oh, well, they're just being paranoid. They're just being paranoid. It's their job. But
Yeah.
I think that I don't know. I just feel like everyone should just really pay attention to what's going on around them, especially now since everything is digital. Like you were saying, like Zoom meetings now have to be protected and all of the things,
Hmm.
classes, even like you mentioned, I think you mentioned HIPAA, how like doctor's appointments are now like
With
being
telehealth.
hosted through Zoom. Yeah.
Yep. So all of those things. So let's just using that as an example. So on your side, what can you do to help protect your information? Well, you're not going to want to go have a telehealth session in the middle of Starbucks. Like that's just you cannot expect any privacy there whatsoever.
Mhm.
So what you can do is maybe go into use your bedroom, or if you're not home, maybe do it in your car. Just do it somewhere where you're, or use headphones. You don't necessarily need to be in a private, like only person in the room, because sometimes that's not available if you have roommates or if you're not able to go home during the day. So it's just those little things definitely that we want to try and help you learn to make better choices essentially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so do you want to tell us about phishing attacks and what your advice is to protect against them?
For sure. So phishing is just one type of a way to get information from users. So it's a tool that is used by cyber criminals to steal personal information from another person. So in this case, the bad actor would potentially create an email that appears like it's coming from someone that you trust, but it's also an attempt to get the other person to enter their information into a fraudulent site or download something, anything to that extent. So um, in the past, it was always the Prince of Nigeria. They're going to send you $5,000. Well, unfortunately, it's not the prince from Nigeria anymore. It could potentially be your boss, your friend, your whomever. It doesn't necessarily matter that it's some unknown entity. It could be someone that you know very well and trust. So you want to make sure, like, if something just seems odd, like I know there's quite a few scams going around where, hey, if you print out this check and go deposit it, then you can buy us all these gift cards and send them to us and so on and so forth. Well, I don't know if you know this, but typically if you print a check from online, they're
Mhm.
not necessarily going to be real.
Yeah,
So yeah, so unfortunately, we always want to take like the quick win of um, of having a big lottery sum, basically.
yeah,
So I would love to have $1 million in the bank, but I know that money's not free.
yeah,
So be suspicious. You want to make sure that what you're looking at actually seems legitimate. If it if I send you an email and you're like, "Hey, this is weird for Erin,"
mhm,
just call me. Say, "Hey, is this something that you really want me to do, or it could be a phishing attack. You never know." So be suspicious. If you are getting something funky from your boss or whomever, call them up or open up a new email and say, "Hey, is this really you?" Because if you respond to the email that you're referring to, it's not necessarily going to go to the person you think it's going to.
yeah,
So you want to make sure that you're able to get a valid confirmation that yes, this person did send you this email. But really it comes down to think before you click. If you don't know the person, don't download all the attachments. Don't click on that random link. You want to be suspicious, but not be paranoid. I don't want people to be afraid of that.
yeah, that makes sense. And I've even been noticing that during election time, I get links to just
Yeah.
random websites through text because I know that I'm
Yeah.
signed up to like remember to register to vote and things like that. I know that there's a lot of campaigns going on,
Yep.
but I'm also getting ones that I know are phishing attacks because it'll just be like the weirdest link ever. and it'll say like, oh, like make sure you're registered to vote, and it's not the right link.
Exactly. So you bring up a great point. So the text phishing, that's becoming a huge thing. It's
Mhm.
called, we refer to it as smishing, so SMS phishing. Um, but that's 100% correct. I too have been getting all the election things, but I don't know about you, but maybe even have you received text saying, "Hey, I'm so and so from this great website. Click here to get $1,800 now for COVID relief." It's like,
Oh no.
those are coming through so often right now.
Mhm.
So bad actors are going to use the current events to make their paycheck bigger.
Yeah.
So it's, you want to, again, be suspicious. You're good in saying, oh, this doesn't even look like the right website.
Mhm.
The tricks that you can possibly use for looking at websites on email versus what's on your texting, those are two very different things.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit harder to find some of them in text, but at the same time, you know, again, no one's going to give you $1,800 just
Yeah.
because.
Yeah. I agree. And it's like if you signed up for something, then you would think like, ah, maybe if this is not what I'm looking for, if this link looks broken or something, I'll just go directly to the website instead of,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. That's probably one of the best ways to do it. So when I'm helping other people learn like how to spot a fish, like if you get an email from your bank saying, "Hey, click this link to verify your contact information." Well, okay, that seems like a semi-legitimate request. I know my bank requests to verify contact info all the time,
Yeah.
but rather than simply clicking that link, go directly to the website itself. Or if you have it on an app on your phone, go to the app on the phone and see if you get that same type of message.
Yeah.
You definitely do not want to be putting in your bank credentials for some bad actor to go empty your bank account.
Yep. 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 That makes sense.
Yeah.
So that being said, and I know you touched on it already a little bit, what are some steps that students can take to make sure that they're taking cybersecurity seriously?
So, what I think honestly, one of the biggest threats that we have, at least to campus, are sometimes the phishing attempts.
Mm.
So, making sure that they're doing everything that they possibly can to learn what looks fishy and what doesn't. So, checking the return address for who's sending the email. Don't just believe what it says it is, like, actually look at the email.
Mm.
Don't click on links. Don't download attachments from unknown sources. Um, Definitely change default passwords. I know it sounds like I'm just giving a list of a lot of things to do, but there's so many layers to security that we want to make sure that we are being able to attack it from all sides, because if you're leaving an open avenue,
Mhm.
bad actors can get in and kind of have a heyday on your account. So
Yeah, there was an email that I read actually that talked about how when a link is embedded to an email or Word or an article, it gets a little bit tricky because you can't see if the link is like broken or anything.
exactly.
But one of the tricks was to hover over it, which
Yep.
works if you're on the computer and you can hover over it and then look at the URL, which I had never, ever, ever thought about. I would always just
Yeah.
click on the embedded link. And it does get a little bit trickier on the phones, but I guess that's just like another step to take to save yourself way more.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Definitely hover over any embedded link because that will save you time and again. Um, you make a good point with phones. It is harder to look at them on the phone. Um, but the way my brain went, it also, some people, they want to use a pin on their phone or they don't want to use a pin on their phone. Having that pin on your phone can help save not only your information, but your friend's information. So if you have an unknown unlocked phone and you by chance leave it at the coffee shop, anybody could go pick it up and now go through your Facebook account, if you have apps on your phone that have your bank account information, they can do that. Or they'll get your contact list and then replicate that, and that way it's like, oh no, I didn't do anything wrong. But they can actually use your contact list to start attacking your friends. Or what happened, I'm sure you've heard about it in the past, like some of the calls that were going to elderly folks pretending to be the grandkids. Well, when you label in your contact list Grandpa Joe, well, that's an easy target. Now they know exactly who Grandpa is. And I can call up, hey, Grandpa, I'm really sick today, but I have a flat tire. Can you wire me money to fix my tire? Those types of things. Those attacks happen time and again. So having a simple PIN code on your phone can save not only you, but potentially your family members.
Dang, I had never even thought about that.
Yeah. So really it comes down to like, there's so many different attack vectors and they're changing constantly because not only are we getting smarter about ways to circumvent those attacks, but so are the attackers. They want their paycheck. They don't want to have to work very hard to get that paycheck. So if we know their new trick, then they're going to have to find another new trick to fool us.
Yeah.
So just remember, no matter what the future holds, every user needs to be empowered to do their part to make sure that they are protecting their information and the information of those they care about as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for telling us all of this information, Erin. And thank you for talking to me
Absolutely.
today.
For sure. Thank you.
I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
Sounds great. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.